Hey, fourth grade. Our focus genre for this week is realistic fiction. I want to remind you that genre simply means kind or type, and we are talking about literature. So a kind or type of literature. Our two main genres, as you remember, are fiction and nonfiction. Fiction are stories that are made up from the author's imagination, and nonfiction stories contain information and true facts. Realistic fiction are stories that use made-up characters but could actually happen in real life. Our story, The Raft, is realistic fiction. It is made up from the author's imagination. It has characters who are made up, but it could happen in real life. Our IXL lesson for today also focuses on realistic fiction. So after you have logged into IXL, you will choose fourth grade, Language Arts. Scroll down to lesson M1, which is reading realistic fiction. Okay. I want to encourage you every time you begin a new lesson on IXL to choose the Learn with Example option. This is only available before you answer the first question, but it will become, the same information will become available again anytime you miss a question. So when you click on that Learn with Example, it will take you to a sample passage or question. It will walk you through the answer choices, but it will also go over the key ideas for that lesson. The key idea for today's realistic fiction exercises is inferences. Okay, authors don't always come out and say everything that you need to know in a story. Sometimes you have to make guesses about what happens and why. Okay? Make sure that you make those inferences based on what is happening in that story. For today's IXL, you will need to read the passage. After you look at the example, you can go back to practice. Read your passage that you will be working with. In order to do that, you'll have to use the up and down scroll arrows in this particular lesson to scroll up and down. There will be 4 questions. These dots tell us that there will be 4 questions about this passage. So you will not have to reread the entire passage for each question. Read through it the first time and then refer back to it anytime that you need to. But you will have to use these up and down arrows to scroll through this passage. You can see over here the number of questions that you have answered, the time you have spent inside this lesson, and your SMART score. Your SMART score goal will be an 85, which is a good score. You can choose to go all the way to a 100 if you would like to. That is fine with me. We'll take you a few more questions, and then when you finish, you can simply exit out. Again, realistic fictions are stories that are made up from the author's imagination. They have made up characters, but they could happen in real life.